What if everything you've been taught about attraction is upside down? What if the things you've been chasing, status, appearance, charm, aren't what she truly craves at all? There is one silent fantasy that lives in the heart of almost every woman, but it isn't spoken aloud because the world doesn't understand it. It isn't money, it isn't looks, it isn't even the sweet words she pretends to want. Her deepest fantasy is of a man who cannot be moved, a man whose presence is so strong that storms bend around him, a man who cannot be controlled, not because he plays games, but because he is full, sovereign, whole, complete. Stay until the end, because this journey is not about tricks, lines, or strategies. It is about transformation. We will uncover the psychology behind this craving, why women feel it so deeply, who needs this message most, and 10 practical practices you can begin today to embody it. By the end, you will not only see women differently, you will see yourself differently. And once you see yourself, you will never again need to chase approval. No man is free who is not master of himself. Epictetus. Freedom is the greatest seduction, and it begins now. If you are serious about walking this path of self-mastery, take a moment right now, subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next step on this journey. The illusion of attraction. From the time we are young, we are fed illusions. Movies tell us that women fall for the richest man, the funniest man, the most handsome man. Advertisements tell us to buy more, perform more, prove more. But attraction is not something you purchase. It is not something you perform. It is something you embody. Women may smile at charm, may flirt with status, may entertain beauty, but these are surface ripples. What they crave in the depths is something entirely different. Presence. Not the presence that clings, not the presence that begs, but the presence that remains. Think of a mountain. Thunder shakes the sky, rain lashes at its sides, winds scream against its cliffs. Yet the mountain stands, unmoved, unbothered, sovereign. This is the unspoken fantasy, the man who stands as the mountain. She does not long for the pebbles that roll down the slope. She longs for the summit that does not move. The fantasy is not about the external, it is about the internal. Not about what you show, but about what you are. A man who is unmoved by storms, who radiates direction without needing validation, awakens her deepest instinct. He doesn't chase her approval. He doesn't bend to her moods. He doesn't collapse when she tests. He remains. And in his remaining, she feels both safety and desire. The paradox is that she longs to approach what she cannot fully touch. But why is this fantasy so universal? Why does every woman carry it? To answer that, we must dive into psychology and into her biology. The psychology behind the craving attraction is not random. It is coded into survival. For millennia, women relied on men not just for food or shelter, but for something deeper, stability in chaos. The world was unpredictable, violent, fragile. To survive, she sought the man who would not shatter when storms came. That need is still written in her biology. Even in today's modern world of comfort and convenience, the psyche carries this ancient programming. She feels safe not with the man who overreacts, but with the one who stays centered. Psychologists speak of the scarcity principle. What is rare becomes valuable. In a culture where men constantly pursue, compliment, and give away their attention freely, what is rare? The man who holds his focus sacred, the man who cannot be consumed. Carl Jung called it the eternal polarity of anima and animus, the dance between feminine flow and masculine stillness. She is the river. You are the riverbank. Without the bank, the river floods. Without the river, the bank is barren. Together, they create balance. Her fantasy is not about domination. It is about containment. She craves the man who can hold her storm, not the man who drowns in it. She craves the one who listens, absorbs, and remains whole. And here lies the paradox. She will test you, not to break you, but to feel you. To feel if your stillness is real. to feel if your center is unshakable. But who most needs to hear this message? You may think it's the insecure or the shy, but the truth is more confronting. Who needs this message the most? Who needs this message? The man who feels tested over and over and doesn't understand why. The man who gives everything only to feel it's never enough. The man who overthinks every text, every glance, every silence. But it isn't only him. It is also the man who thinks he already knows. The one who memorizes tricks, lines, and tactics, yet feels empty the moment performance stops. Because women do not surrender to gimmicks. They surrender to presence, and presence cannot be faked. This message is for the man who feels tired of chasing, for the man drained by games, for the man who secretly fears he is never enough. It is also for the man who feels disconnected from himself, from his purpose, from silence. The man whose life is loud with distraction, yet quiet with meaning. It's for the man who is ready to stop asking, "How do I win her?" and start asking, "How do I master myself?" Because until you master yourself, you will forever chase. And chasing is weakness. The Stoics knew this. No man is free who is a slave to his passions. Epictetus. Freedom begins with self-command, and women feel that freedom instantly. But to become this man, you must first face the great obstacle that chains most men today, the prison of overthinking. The prison of overthinking. Overthinking is the disease of the modern man. You replay her words. You analyze her texts. You search for meaning in her pauses. You torture yourself with what-ifs. But here is the truth. Overthinking does not make you smarter. It makes you weaker. It shows not intelligence, but insecurity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but your estimate of it." Women don't test to hurt you. They test to feel you. They want to feel if you will remain when challenged. Overthinking disconnects you from presence. It drags you into your head when she longs to fill your heart. It makes you reactive, snapping, chasing, apologizing too quickly. And reaction kills attraction. Stillness, however, radiates strength. When you respond slowly, calmly, and deliberately, you awaken a primal trust. She feels, this man is not a boy. He will not collapse under pressure. Stop decoding her every move. Start embodying your own. When you let go of the storm in your head, you begin to embody the mountain she craves. But letting go of overthinking is only the first step. To truly awaken desire, you must master an ancient art long forgotten, the art of mystery. Mystery is not a trick, it is a discipline. In a world of oversharing, where men spill their stories, emotions, and validation endlessly, mystery is rare. And what is rare becomes magnetic. Mystery is restraint. It is knowing that your silence can say more than your words. It is letting her discover you in layers, like a sacred text revealed line by line. Seneca once wrote, "A wise man is content with himself." Contentment is mysterious, because the man who needs nothing reveals little, and what he does reveal feels earned. When you speak less, she leans in. When you don't rush to fill the silence, she imagines. And imagination is the birthplace of fantasy. Mystery is not hiding. It is living so deeply within your essence that you don't feel the urge to explain yourself. Women are storytellers. They thrive on filling in gaps. When you give glimpses, her mind creates a novel. She fantasizes not about what you've shown, but about what you might be. And the fantasy she builds will always be stronger than anything you could perform. Mystery is power. It is depth without desperation. It is silence that speaks louder than noise. But mystery alone is fragile unless anchored in something unshakable. To be truly magnetic, you must embody masculine stillness, the anchor in her storm. Her emotions rise and fall like tides. Some days they are calm ripples, other days crashing waves. This is not a flaw. It is her nature. Feminine energy flows like water, sometimes steady, sometimes chaotic, always alive. And here is the silent craving. She does not want a man who matches her chaos with chaos. She does not long for the one who drowns with her. She craves the anchor, the steady presence that holds firm while her waves crash and recede. Epictetus wrote, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When she tests you, she is not trying to break you. She is trying to feel you, to feel if your strength is real. Will you collapse? Will you argue? Will you drown in her storm? Or will you remain calm, steady, unshakable? Stillness is not cold indifference. It is warm containment. When she rages, you listen. When she panics, you breathe. When she cries, you hold space without being consumed. And in that stillness, she feels something few men give her: safety. Not safety from the world outside, but safety from her own storms within. This is not weakness. This is the highest form of strength. Spiritual dominance, the quiet power of the man who cannot be moved. But stillness without words is incomplete. To reach her soul, you must learn the art of speaking truths that cut deeper than flattery, words that pierce the soul. Most men rely on the obvious. You're beautiful. You're sexy. These words are cheap because every man says them. But a Stoic man sees deeper. He notices what others overlook, the small details, the subtle traits, the resilience she hides. When you say you carry yourself like someone who has known both beauty and pain, you disarm her. She pauses because she feels seen, not for her body, but for her essence. Words, when wielded with discipline, are not validation. They are revelation. To wield them, you must observe. Watch her carefully. Listen between her words. Feel the texture of her silence. And then, only when the moment is ripe, speak with precision. Speak not often, but with weight. Compliments are not currency. They are mirrors reflecting what she does not know she reveals. And in that mirror, she feels naked in a way no surface flattery can touch. This requires patience, the discipline to wait, the strength to resist the easy line. But when you speak like this, your words echo inside her. Long after the moment ends, she replays them. She wonders how you saw what no one else noticed. Yet words mean nothing without presence. To carry this energy, you must live with direction. Purpose is the true language of attraction. The seduction of purpose. There is nothing more magnetic than a man consumed by mission. A man who walks into a room not seeking approval, but radiating direction. His eyes reveal fire, but not for her, for something larger than both of them. The Stoics lived this truth: purpose before pleasure, discipline before indulgence. They knew that the man without direction is prey to every distraction, every temptation, every fleeting desire. When a woman sees you immersed in your craft, your work, your growth, she sees something rare. She feels the pull of a force larger than her, a man whose life cannot be derailed by seduction. This is not arrogance, it is sovereignty. You do not need her to fill your emptiness, because you are already full with purpose. And paradoxically, this is what makes her crave you more, because she does not want to be your mission. She wants to join you on your mission. Your purpose becomes your seduction. Your silence becomes your language. Your focus becomes your gravity. Marcus Aurelius: a man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions. Live with small ambitions, and you attract small desire. Live with great ambition, and you become irresistible. Not because you chase, but because you radiate. But even purpose can be corrupted if you fall prey to ego. And ego is the silent saboteur of men. Ego, the silent saboteur. Ego whispers constantly, prove yourself, show her, win her. But every attempt to prove reveals the opposite. Insecurity. Ego is fragile. It demands applause. It needs to be seen. And the more you need to be seen, the less she feels you. Marcus Aurelius warned, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Drop the show. Drop the mask. Ego thrives on performance. Presence requires none. When you are rooted in essence, you do not need to impress. You are. Your existence, lived fully and silently, is enough. The irony is cruel but true. The more you try to prove yourself, the weaker you appear. The less you try, the stronger you become. This does not mean arrogance. Arrogance is just another mask of ego. True strength is quiet, subtle. It doesn't need to speak loudly because it is undeniable. The man enslaved by ego is forever chasing validation. The man free of ego radiates freedom, and freedom is magnetic. But freedom cannot come until you face your deepest shadows, the wounds you try to bury, and without healing, all else crumbles. Healing the inner wounds. Every man carries wounds. Rejection, betrayal, failure, the father who wasn't there, the lover who left, the friends who mocked. Most men bury these wounds. They hide them beneath bravado, jokes, or silence. But unhealed wounds never disappear. They leak. They make you cling. They make you chase. They make you collapse at the slightest trigger. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Healing is not weakness. Healing is courage. It is the courage to face your own pain instead of projecting it onto others. A Stoic man does not run from discomfort. He sits with it. He breathes through it. He integrates it until it no longer controls him. When you heal, you stop needing her to validate you. You stop expecting her to fix you. You stop clinging to her approval to numb your pain. Instead, you stand whole. And wholeness is irresistible. But healing must be forged into something tangible. And that requires the crucible of discipline. Discipline, the forge of presence. Discipline is freedom. Without it, you are a slave to impulse. With it, you command yourself. Wake early, train your body, guard your focus, refuse distractions. These are not just habits, they are declarations of sovereignty. Women do not fantasize about the man who indulges in every impulse, who scrolls endlessly, who numbs himself with pleasure. They fantasize about the man who commands himself, the man whose discipline radiates through his presence. Discipline is proof, silent, undeniable proof. You don't need to say you are strong, she feels it in your presence. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Every time you master a small impulse, resisting distraction, honoring your word, staying focused, you build inner gravity, and that gravity pulls her in. Discipline is not a prison, it is liberation. Liberation from neediness, from chaos, from weakness. But discipline without compassion turns a man into stone, and true mastery requires balance. Compassion, the hidden strength. Stillness does not mean coldness. Discipline does not mean cruelty. The Stoic man is firm but not harsh, strong but not brutal, grounded but not heartless. Compassion is strength disguised as softness. It is the ability to remain steady while still caring, to enforce boundaries while honoring humanity. When you can look into her chaos and not flinch, yet still hold her hand, you embody something rare. When you can say no firmly but without anger, you show strength wrapped in warmth. This balance is magnetic. Cold men repel, weak men collapse. But the man who is firm and compassionate melts her defenses. She feels, I can trust him. I can surrender here. Seneca said, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness. Kindness without weakness, firmness without cruelty." This is the balance of the Stoic man. If these truths are shifting something inside you, don't just watch, subscribe now. This journey of mastery is only beginning. Now we approach the heart of this teaching, the #1 female fantasy revealed in full clarity. The silent fantasy revealed. So what is the deepest, most unspoken fantasy? It is simple. Her greatest desire is a man who is sovereign over himself, not controlled by her moods, not begging for her attention, not abandoning his mission. A man who is present yet unattached, mysterious yet safe, passionate yet disciplined. She doesn't crave to own him. She craves to be chosen by him, not from weakness, but from strength. When she feels this, something shifts. She stops testing. She stops chasing attention. She relaxes. She surrenders. Because she senses she has finally found what is rare, a man who is whole. This is the fantasy hidden beneath her words, her laughter, her arguments, her tests. The fantasy she may never speak aloud, yet will always respond to, a man who has mastered himself. But knowing this is not enough. You must embody it daily. Let's explore 10 powerful tools to live this truth now. 10 real-world practices. 1. Breathwork. In conflict, breathe deep. Calm your nervous system before you speak. 2. Daily journaling. Process your emotions on paper, not on her. 3. Digital discipline. Don't text constantly. Let your attention be scarce. 4th mission time. Dedicate hours daily to your craft or vision, non-negotiable. 5. Physical training. Train your body. Strength sharpens your presence. 6. Silence practice. Sit 15 minutes daily in stillness. Train your mind to be unmoved. 7. Boundaries. Say no calmly. Enforce it through action, not anger. 8. Deep reading. Read philosophy and wisdom daily. Feed your depth. 9. Observation. Before speaking, watch carefully. Learn to see essence, not surface. 10. Walk away power. Be willing to leave if values misalign. Freedom is attractive. These are not tricks. They are practices of becoming. Small acts, repeated daily, forge essence. With these tools, you now hold the blueprint. But let us close with the deepest transformation, the shift from chasing to becoming. Seduction is not about tricks. It is not about performance. It is about transformation. The Stoics never begged for attention. They radiated reverence through discipline, honor, and inner calm. In a world of noise, be silence. In a world of chaos, be calm. In a world of masks, be real. When you master yourself, you master attraction. When you embody sovereignty, she does not chase your charm. She craves your essence. Walk as if the world bends to your stillness. Live as if you need nothing, yet give everything. And remember, we do not chase, we become. If this message touched you, don't let it fade. Subscribe, share this video, and walk this path of mastery. The world does not need more men who chase. It needs more men who are.